Have you ever wanted to well, I guess the question is, do you ever do any sort of, powerlifting or weightlifting or anything like that? Is that in your wheelhouse or not?
Not anymore. I used to in high school with sports and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy.
Right. What was your goals when you were doing that? Were you like core, like building up your core, like physique, like muscles, beating up your boyfriend? I don't know, stuff like that.
I think it was more muscles. I felt like the leg press was probably one of my better things instead of like bench press, but yeah.
Okay, there you go. And you were in a dancer too, and that probably that helped out a lot.
Dance, volleyball, all that, cheerleading.
There you go. Well, Ethan is joining us, Ethan Reed, this morning, and he is headed to a competition coming up this weekend. And just listening to some of the accolades that he has achieved so far, and Brad's here as well, Brad Reed, his dad, and there's probably a driving force between, hey, you know what, setting the bench higher, probably being, the best that you can. And so we're going to be talking to him over the next couple of minutes about what is powerlifting, first of all. Is it different than weightlifting? Is it, how much of a competition is it? For me, I know this sounds really silly, I sort of tied it in with wrestling for a moment there, and I'm like, well, it's not even close to that. It is truly weightlifting and more. So, Ethan, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are, what grade are you in high school now?
I'm a freshman at LHS.
All right, and over the next few minutes, and I want the listening audience to understand this. Freshman here has done a lot, has achieved a lot at this point. So you've got, your juniors, your sophomore, junior, senior year still yet to go. And so this is a moment for you to talk a little bit about yourself and tell us some of those achievements that you've made in powerlifting. But before we even get to that point, what is powerlifting?
So powerlifting is a 3-lift-based sport. The squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. Okay. And the winner is decided by whoever has the highest total in their specific weight class. And
so, the first thing that comes to mind for me is you see this on TV where, they're on stage and they're the big, the dumbbells and stuff like that and weightlifting there. Is that what it is? Or are we totally different?
I think you're talking about strongman.
Okay, there you go. Something like that.
So strongman is a more like flashy sport, and I wouldn't say it's not a sport, but it's mainly for TV.
All right.
And powerlifting isn't very cool to watch. It's more of like you just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have to, when it comes to rules, like let's take the 3 disciplines for a moment. One is squatting, right? You said. So if you had to describe that, what is it? And is there some rules that you can't do this or you have to do that?
So the main rule with squatting is depth. Okay. So depth is you have to go low enough in your squat. And how they measure that is your hip crease to the start of your knee. Okay. So most people think it's parallel or 90 degrees, and it's not really that. Mm-hmm. It's your hip crease to your knee.
So you're trying to get your bottom as close to the ground as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Do you ever fall over?
I have.
Yeah. I can't imagine having a weight, because what do you carry? How much weight are you carrying at that point?
I can do 340 pounds.
Wait, hold on. You're trying to squat with 340 pounds and not fall over. Mm-hmm. All right. And it happens. I mean, it happens. I can't even imagine being in that situation. Brad, what did you get your son into here? What are we talking about here?
I think he just picked it up naturally. He is a YouTube fan, and he saw this sport on YouTube. And, when he was younger, he was small and short like I am. And so he wanted to get stronger and started doing push-ups and did a 30-day push-up challenge. Saw the results, and then he just never stopped. And for 2 years, he's been building significant amount of muscle and strength and power.
That's pretty good. And Janelle, there probably is a photo of Ethan back then and now, and I'm going to ask him a question, how much he's changed, but questions that you might have for him here.
What age would you say that you actually had interest in this sport?
Yeah, that's a great question.
When I first turned 13.
Okay.
13. What made you? Was it YouTube or?
It was TikTok.
TikTok.
All right, there you go. Nice. And I guess that question is, how much have you seen change in yourself over that time?
I've gained about 30 pounds.
Okay.
And I look like leaner, so skin, like I have better abs now than when I started. So
there you go.
30 pounds of muscle.
You can go to the beach. See, I can't go to the beach. All right, let's just clarify that. You can go to the beach and be like, okay, but that's what you can do. Now, we went over the first discipline. What's the second one?
Bench press.
Okay, that's pretty explanatory, right? Rules in this, though.
There are some rules. I think the bench press is the hardest one.
Okay.
The first and major rule is you have to pause it on your chest.
Okay.
So you bring it down, they give you the start command, and then they say press when you have it on your chest long enough.
And is it touching your, like? It's
touching your
chest.
chest.
All right, there you go. Okay.
And you have to pause it for 2 seconds.
All right.
1 to 2 seconds.
And do you feel your arms shaking at times?
Yeah.
And how much weight are we talking about?
I've done 210
okay.
in competition, but 225 in the gym.
And you got spotters and all that.
Yeah.
There's still the safety measures that come into play. And once you've paused, I would assume it's a lot tougher to push that back up at that point, right?
And then another rule is your butt has to stay onto the bench.
Okay.
Because it would be a lot easier because you can drive your legs into the ground and use just more like momentum, I guess. But you have to keep your butt glued to the bench.
Yeah. When you're in a competition like this, and you've got a competition coming up this weekend we're going to be talking about here in a moment, what is there a lot of judges that are looking at those different areas? What's that environment like?
It's very scary and like nerve-wracking because they will call out the littlest mistake and then you could get red lighted on your attempt, and that'd be bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's 3 judges per lift, correct, Ethan?
Yep.
All right, so you got 3 judges there, and in this competition that's taking place in Troy this weekend, that's called what's it called again?
The Texas Power Bar Open.
Okay, and it's not necessarily. Is it high school related or is it just open competition?
It's open competition.
Okay, so you're going down there, and how many competitors do you expect to be competing against then?
I say just under 60.
Okay, all right. So this is pretty awesome, and being a freshman in high school here in the area, this isn't just hey, I'm just going to try this out. You have achieved a lot so far. So here's your moment in time. What kind of awards have you already achieved?
So I have 3 state records for powerlifting. The deadlift, which is 407 pounds. The squat, which is 315 pounds. And the total, which is 931.
Wait, that's a lot of weight. That's incredible. All right. Well, congratulations on that first. We talked about the squat. We talked about the bench press and then the deadlift, right? Is the third one. What's different in that one versus the squat then?
I say deadlift is the easiest one.
Okay.
And the only command really is down, and that's when you hold it at the top. So locked out with your knees fully locked out.
Okay.
But the main rule is you can't drop it.
Okay.
You have to hold on to it the whole time, and when you're at the top, you can't just drop it to the floor.
And this bar is over your head, right, at that point, or no?
It's just to your hips.
Okay. Oh, I've seen that. Okay, so up, and then you have to lock your knees and hold it for how long?
Probably about a second until
Okay.
your knees are locked out and your hips are locked out.
And that's where you and by the way, they always told us as a kid or growing up, you gotta squat, right? That's why you do squats. But with a deadlift, that has to be so different from what we're told is how to pick up things that are heavy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're doing that. So was that different? Is there a lot of different muscles that you used in that then?
So I do the sumo deadlift, which a lot of people don't like, but I do, and that's where you spread your legs out of your shoulders instead of the conventional deadlift, which is inside your shoulders.
Okay.
And that can work the abductors, which is the inside of your legs, the hamstrings, the glute muscles, and the quads, which is mainly just the whole legs. And it's a leg killer, and
I was going to say, I can feel my legs hurting right now. Like thinking about that.
Brad, you are creating this Arnold Schwarzenegger here somehow here, but he is a freshman in high school and knows his muscle groups, knows how to focus on them, and achieving a lot. That's got to be pretty incredible for you.
It's pretty awesome. He's already surpassed me in strength and all the things I did in CrossFit. But his goal now is to take on his Uncle Tad, who's 6'2" and 220 pounds. So Ethan's a 5'5", and what are you now, 165?
160.
But he's got Uncle Tad in his goal, so he's going to outlift his uncle.
What is and that's a pretty hefty goal. And I guess from your mouth, what is your life goals? I mean, is this going to be part of your life?
So I do want to do this as a profession.
Okay.
So there really isn't any money in it. Mm-hmm. So I would have to have another career.
Yeah.
But my number one goal would be to total 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
So all 3 lifts total 2,000 pounds.
And you're at 900 some odd right now.
Yeah.
Well, halfway there.
Getting close, yeah.
Absolutely. Janelle, any other questions before we wrap up this morning?
So the weigh-in, it's a more like, I guess you'd say, particular weigh-in than most weigh-ins. Mm-hmm. And that consists of like a drug test, just in case of, you get weighed, and then just in case any steroids, anything like that. So I think that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense, but...
Do you, in regards to this, is it more stringent than other sports that you might have played as well?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. So just got to make sure that everything is up and up, right, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you're killing it, and Brad, you've hinted over the last part of this conversation that you did this before, right? You were powerlifting when you were in high school.
I didn't, we didn't have YouTube and the access to information and technique and all of that. But, Mr. Kirby, he was still a new teacher when I was there. And he taught us all kinds of stuff. And Fred Horseman in soccer taught us things. So I spent a lot of time in the weight room in high school and college and even after. And then I did CrossFit with Dr. Jacob and learned a lot there. But nothing like Ethan and how technical Ethan is, and the reason he can lift so much is because his form is so exceptionally good.
All right, well, keep up the great work. You're getting some comments. Kevin Keller, you know him. He says good luck, and he knows about that sumo wrestles. He says, oh, no, he's actually challenging you. He says, no sumo on that. But you know what? You do it the way you want to do it and keep being successful. That's pretty cool. It sounds like there are other people that do this or have done this, obviously. And it's a whole different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very cool. All right. So this weekend, Troy, in the city of Troy, you're going to be going there. You're going to be in that powerlifting competition. About what you said, 90 people or so, 60 people. Okay, and so this competition is going to be fierce. I mean, are you ready for it?
I am.
All right, there you go, confidence there. And then let us know on Monday. We'll get the listeners updated on how you did. And the goal this weekend, you want to do like the trifecta, right? Is that you've got 2 of the achievements? You want to fill that third one, right? Mm-hmm. And what is that one more time?
230 pounds. I think.
All right. And what's the
bench press? And
have you done 230 at this point?
I've not.
Oh.
But I'm hoping to do it.
All right, there we go. Well, good luck to you. You're going to do great. Ethan here, Ethan Reed, joining us as well as Brad Reed. Thanks to the two of you for stopping by and hanging out with us this morning. I can actually say this out loud. It's nothing that I will ever be able to do. Okay, maybe I'll get some weights, and now you have kind of inspired me to do some weightlifting here. But
we'll have to show them the downstairs room down there.
Oh yeah,
with all your equipment that you've probably never used.
Yeah, I have a gym down in the lower level of the radio station. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, and it has a lot of dust on it. Let's just clarify that. That is unfortunate. It is 7:38 now here on 102.7 WMOM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. Stick around, more music.